Hello and welcome to Coffee and Catholics, a Catholic women's talk show podcast. I'm Stacy, one of your hosts, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm Alicia.
I'm Annie.
And I'm Lauren.
Hello, welcome to Coffee and Catholics. This week we are going to discuss Christmas traditions because Christmas is this Saturday.
La 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 la.
Merry Christmas to all of you. Almost. I mean,
a penitent Advent, you miserable sinner.
I love it. But as Advent comes closer to ending and Christmas is getting closer, we thought we would talk a little bit about some of our Christmas traditions. When do you guys put up your tree?
Right after Thanksgiving. That's when I do it.
My favorite is Christmas Eve.
Really?
See, okay.
so weird.
So when we moved into our current house, our living room's quite small. And so we left our old giant tree in the attic of our old house semi-accidentally. But there was like this little evergreen in front of our house. And I was like totally fine with just like decorating that and being done because I had toddlers and I didn't want things breaking. And my husband was like, no, we've got to get a tree. And so like Christmas Eve, he went and bought a tree.
That's kind of sweet.
And it's this like super slim one. And we put it up Christmas Eve while the kids were asleep and they woke up and they got out the next morning and I don't remember how old he was at the time. He must have been oldest, who was 4 at the time. So a tree grew in our living room. And just the like excitement of like what Christmas, like that Christmas was here and that it all just kind of came together, like right, like just all of it together. It was just really beautiful. And so it really is that was like my favorite thing was to put it up while they were asleep, not even with the kids, like, and then have them like, just wake up to that. Now, since then, like we do now have them, like we put it up together and it's usually, sometimes it has been Christmas Eve, but it also will be like maybe the Sunday before Christmas.
So later in the season.
But very much later in the season. I prefer Christmas Eve, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Well, our family started doing the weekend of after Thanksgiving when I was in college because I went away to college and that was when and then I had, finals week and everything else. So I couldn't come home. So that was the last time I was home before Christmas break. So that was why we started doing it so I could help my mom. And it just kind of stayed that way. You guys can't see that, but obviously we're recording this a little earlier. And Advent started, but it's not Christmas quite yet. My tree's not up yet, which is highly unusual. But it's just a different year this year. But what I started doing a couple of years ago and has given me a little bit of peace is we put the tree up then. And then during Advent, maybe one night we put the lights on. Then a night or two later, we put the ornaments up or the garland on. Like it slowly comes together through Advent. And then by Christmas Eve, we've decorated the whole tree.
See, I like that idea because it's like you still get to have some of those fun decorations as you go. Because I think last year, it was the first year that I heard about it, that it was kind of a tradition in the Catholic faith to put things up on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or whatever, and then just have your decorations up through the church, liturgical, what am I trying to say?
Through Epiphany, usually, or even Candlemas.
Okay. Yeah, I think I kept it up until Candlemas. But then it was like everybody else had taken their stuff down, and it felt like I had missed out on like the community, aspect of the whole thing. And so now I think this year I just decided that I realize I might be missing something here, but like, the secular world's all about the lights and the Santas and stuff like that. And I love it. And so like, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll figure out a way to celebrate in Christmas as well. Because I don't want to keep my tree up, all the way through there, I don't think. But
a lot of people do that, where they'll just take the best of, the secular Christmas. But then once Christmas actually comes, it becomes a deeply religious observance, and it becomes the real Christmas that you observe religiously, as opposed to the fun stuff before that the kids like and everybody's doing it and there's all the movies on and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I will say, like, we're still doing like Advent stuff, you know, like up until then. So it is still like I'm trying to make it a very spiritual thing, but in terms of just decorations, they're just fun, and I want the pretty lights, and I don't want to wait. So,
see, a lot of people are like that.
I'm different because I like part of it is like just having it all out tends to stress me out a little bit. But once it's there, I do enjoy it. But it's like leading up to Christmas, I try and really focus on like we do our our Advent wreath, and each week doing our hope and peace and love and joy, like focusing on those things, and like the Jesse tree, just the stories, like not necessarily anything fancy. We have stickers this year, so I might actually have like completed my Jesse tree by the time this podcast is airing.
On the antiphons around this point.
I know, it would be exciting. That would be the first year that I actually made it through.
It's a huge feat.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever made it through.
Yeah, but but we still have to do the day-to-day things, like homeschooling my kids and making sure things are
Christmas
clean
parties.
and all that. So not putting up all the decoration part, it kind of is a load off of me during that.
Sense.
And so that then we put it up and we just enjoy the full like Christmas season, and it's just so we leave ours up usually through Candlemas, sometimes to Valentine's Day. Spring break, who knows?
It's been known to happen.
Just kind of depends on the year. But we also like during that, during the actual Christmas season, that's when my family does like our gingerbread houses and things like that, because there's just so much going on before then that it's just like I really enjoy really taking that time when it's past all the other stuff.
Hustle and bustle.
That and they're on clearance.
That's a good point. That's
you can buy sometimes we don't buy Christmas presents, like especially when your family's forward. You can get away with not after you buy Christmas presents after.
Yeah.
Because everything goes awesome.
Well, see, and I think this really points out for me how like spiritually immature I am compared to you guys.
I don't think so. No, because I've run the gamut. I've done it her way. I've done it another way.
There's a difference between spiritually immature and okay, sorry.
No, because yours is like this profound, like ta-da, Christmas is here, and the reason for the season, and that from what I understand, the tree came about because of Jesus. I can't remember the story now, but it has something to do with Jesus and giving presents and stuff. But anyways, so like it's all profound. And then yours is like this gradual progression and preparing for like the coming of Christ, and so it's beautiful. And I'm like, I'm impatient, and I just want my tree up.
Well, to tell you the truth,
a lot
the
of
reason
people are like that, are in your camp, honestly.
And the reason
I'm in your camp.
Did that is because I got impatient with my children. Because when we tried to decorate the whole tree all at once, it was overwhelming because everybody wanted to do something, and we all got in each other's way, and almost knocked the tree down. But if we only do one thing at a time, it still gets done. We still get to do it together, and it's a lot calmer. Oh, look, we got all the lights up. Let's enjoy those tonight.
What you're really saying is you're a better Catholic than me. I get it.
No,
I can't
handle it. No.
But I will say our tree is very small, so it can be put up in like
last year's our fell over because it was so big.
Remember that thing? Your husband chopped it off so it looked like.
But your husband actually like went out into his field of trees and chopped a real tree down and dragged it in the house. It's very,
and I filled it in with random branches.
It was very rustic, and I was so impressed. I was like, oh my god.
Can I tell a funny story real quick? My husband's family did that one year, the first year that they were in their like 10 acres of housing, brought the tree in. It had been marked by a deer.
Oh, it was a mesquite.
That got taken outside real quick. They never chopped one down from their property again.
But we try to keep our tree up until Epiphany, but then I keep our nativity set up through Candlemas, because especially if you have a real tree, it's a little hard to keep them alive all the way through Candlemas. But they become pretty good fire hazard in your house. So we try to keep ours up at least until Epiphany. And I do have a fake tree that is kind of it's turned into our St. Nicholas tree, because at our house for St. Nicholas Day, we get usually ornaments. And so all the ornaments they get for St. Nicholas Day end up on the St. Nicholas tree, which cute. Is usually in our entryway. And it's my old college tree, so it's smaller. But yeah, we'll try to keep our real tree up until about January 6th, which also brings me to, when do you guys do presents? Because one of the things that we've done in the past is we'll have like a family type present on Christmas Eve, and then open up majority of our presents on Christmas. But my husband's family, growing up, they would keep one of their presents back for Epiphany. And I haven't made my kids keep a present back, but I usually have a separate Epiphany gift for them.
Gifts. We actually do the 12 days of Christmas for opening. They don't open them all at once. This is something we did the last 2 years. They will open whichever grandparent set is with us that year or something like that. They'll open those presents with those grandparents if it's happening before Christmas. But whatever's left gets divvied up over the 12 days of Christmas. And so they have a gift every single day. And then, of course, there's the Epiphany gift. And it's actually worked really well because our kids, because one of the things that's frustrating are the expectations of other people with opening presents, and kids are notorious for not showing gratitude for stuff or not playing with something the way that the person who gives it wants them to. And this is where I get stressed out about Christmas is, are my kids... Because literally, they could just open something, look at it, and toss it aside, and the person giving it could be like,
yeah.
So we don't do that. We just let them focus on the gift that they open that day, and then they play with that Friday, and then the next day there's something else. So for us, it's really allowed them to see their gifts and to play with them. And sometimes it isn't always one gift a day. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 a day if there's a lot of them. And then but we split them up evenly, is my point, over the 12 days. So that's been something that has been really good. And it also helps us truly keep Christmas the Catholic way.
Now, are you talking about like gifts, like, are they like just from y'all, or like ones that they've gotten in from presents from family members?
If they were sent in, and it looks different every year depending on if we're home or if we're away. So this year's going to be totally different.
Okay.
So we're not sure how we're going to navigate 12 days of Christmas. We may not even be able to do it this year, actually, thinking about it. But we try to just divvy them up so that there's that Christmas is kept, and it's stretched out. It has made it, and then we keep our tree up till Candlemas. Ours goes up around the 5th, definitely before St. Nicholas. We will put the ornaments on by St. Nicholas Day. The lights don't go on until the 13th, which is St. Lucy's feast day. It's huge in our family. When you see our tree at our big St. Lucy party, it will have lights on it. Because we just put them on that morning, probably. And then usually the star will go on later, like to top the tree, maybe even Christmas Eve. It just kind of depends on if we find one we like, or if the other one we bought last year isn't broken. Or there's always some sort of thing going on. So those are and then a lot of the baking, like cookies and things like that goes in the Christmas season and not in Advent. Because I find that Advent is just too much. And it's so...
Well, some of the baking I would do during Advent is maybe like cinnamon rolls on St. Lucy's Day or something like that. But
if you are doing baking gifts, but like the Christmas cookies, usually that's St. Stephen's thing, or the Feast of the Holy Family. We like to do it on that. We've had cookie changes before on the Holy Family Feast Day, stuff like that. So...
in our house, we don't do, like, I don't put our tree up till later. But you reminded me, like, if we do, like, the past couple of years, it had been, like, a little bit, like, maybe this, like, the 4th Sunday of Advent or something, but we don't light it until Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Like, so and same with the house lights. My husband will put them up, like, he's even done, like, a couple weeks before, but he doesn't light them till Christmas Day, and that's when our nativity set goes out in the front as well. And that one's kept up through the Easter, wrong season, through the Christmas season. But we do have, and I'm hoping he's getting this fixed, but like we're recording this at the beginning of Advent. But we like to have a smart front light that can do color changing, and we do the colors for Advent for that. And then so we have that, and then with Christmas it's white, and then all the lights are up on the house, and then we have the light shining up on our nativity for the outdoor nativity. But Saint Nicholas, you say you get your tree up and ornaments up by Saint Nicholas Day.
Yeah.
Saint Nicholas in our house sets out our nativity set.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He hides Jesus though. So
Till Christmas.
Yes.
and then he comes back to bring their Santa Claus present, and he puts Jesus there because to remind us that that's what he loves Jesus so much. That's why he does these gifts. But that's one of the traditions we have.
Well, speaking of Jesus and gifts on Christmas morning, we didn't do this in my house. I'm kind of picky. So I collect nativity sets. Most of them have gotten broken by either my husband or my children, but
she called they
know it already. But growing up, my family had I'm really picky about having a removable Jesus. So like the ones that like Jesus is like stuck to the manger. He's stuck to Mary, or he's stuck to the manger, and it's just like
the sacrifice game.
Yeah, so it's kind of awkward. But like right now we have one, but that he's kind of stuck to the manger. We have a manger, and then he gets stuck with his manger.
No, we have to take the whole manger out, and then Mary and Joseph are just looking at this.
Right. But so my husband's family, before they could open any gifts, and I've really liked this tradition with our children, they sing happy birthday to Jesus. And so
that's beautiful.
We've done that before.
We and this is another thing. Everybody has kind of a different tradition. We do Christmas Day Mass. So like you asked, like when we open presents, like within our family, we open them. Like our immediate family, we open them Christmas morning, and then we go to Mass. And while we're at Mass, we go sing Happy Birthday to Jesus, like at the church's nativity scene. And then every time we go back to Mass, like throughout the Christmas season and see the nativity, we sing Happy Birthday again because to remind them that Christmas is still happening. Mm-hmm. My older kids are getting a little annoyed with me when I do stuff like that now, but the little ones like it.
I'm glad you brought up like when going to Mass, because everybody has their favorite Mass time. Like we have some families that love the midnight Mass, and growing up we always went, mostly because I was involved somehow, usually singing in the choir or something. We always went to the 4:30 Mass or whatever, the earlier Mass, because there's the children's Mass or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I love going then, and especially now as a parent myself, because when we have to travel so much to everybody else, to both sides of our family, we do Christmas, we have one side we go on Christmas Day, and then we have to arrange another time with the other side of the family, and it alternates every year. But one of the things that we have made sure of is that Christmas morning is here at home as best as possible. And so
we try to do that too.
And so going the night before on Christmas Eve has allowed us to do that with our children, because I think it's important, especially when your family lives close to you, your extended family, and you're having to travel everywhere. Having those traditions that are just you and your children, for your children to
agree
to evolve with as they grow up, and then with their families in the future.
Yeah, we live across the street from our parish, so it makes it real easy to go to Mass on Christmas Day. It doesn't take up too much of our
We go to Christmas
morning.
Eve Mass for very selfish vein and worldly reasons, mostly because we buy the cute holiday outfits and they all match, and we just want to see everybody else in their cute holiday outfits and for everyone to see us. No, I'm just joking. Really, it's because my kids can't handle opening presents and seeing toys and not playing with them right then, and to tear them away from that Christmas morning would be screaming fits. So we go on Christmas Eve.
Your kids don't wake up at like the butt crack of dawn on Christmas Day, and like so they have like 3 hours still.
Well, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Last year they didn't at all.
Wow.
They didn't wake up till like 8, and we were like,
Are they lying?
But even so, like, the Mass is at 9 or 9:30.
Like 10:30, maybe. I could be wrong.
But it just, to have to break them away from that, to have to switch my kids, the transition is too hard for them. So we just do it on Christmas Eve, and then we have all morning to just kind of relax.
Well, and like for us, the chaos to try and get everybody up and running. I mean, just on regular Sunday morning.
Yeah, and then you have a pile of toys in front of them trying to do that. Oh,
and we go to 8:00 mass, so then to tell them, no, you see all the stuff that you got?
You can't open
you
that
can't
yet.
open that yet.
Yeah, that would never work.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work for us.
Yeah.
And so,
it just wouldn't work for it. Yeah. I don't think we've ever gone to Christmas Day Mass, actually. It's always been Christmas Eve.
I don't even remember as a kid which one it was, but I know that, like, for as long as I can remember, our family, like, that's what ours has been, is Christmas Day. And even, like, I remember when I was dating my husband, like, there were members, like, his family, there was, like, they all went together on Christmas Day, but, like, there were members of their family that went and served mass, like the other masses, or, like, midnight mass, and then went again on Christmas Day. Ooh. Like...
They are holier than me.
We do that on Easter, because Easter Vigil is my favorite. And so I'll go to Easter Vigil Mass, and then I'll go Easter morning with my husband and kids.
Again, because of the cute clothes. I don't know why. It is. One thing that my husband and I like to do, and this is probably another reason why we like the Christmas Eve Mass, just because we have our own Christmas movies that we like to watch that aren't really kid friendly on Christmas Eve while we're putting all the things together, the classic adult Christmas movies, not adult, but grown up Christmas movies that are just between us, that we watched when we were dating or something like that. So we like to do that every year and drink champagne at like 10:30 at night.
That reminded me, like, that's another reason, like, we do Christmas Day now. It's Christmas Eve. My uncle makes tortillas and bûche de Noël, and we go over there and we have these, like, meat pies and Yule log, and spend that, a little bit of time with them, and then we go back home, and we still have to do all the grown-up get ready for Christmas stuff after the kids go to bed. And then...
And I'm always so tired.
Yeah.
Christmas Day, I'm like, it's too late.
You open your stockings. Sleep right here. Yeah, mommy sees. It's great.
So then we do our just immediate family, all that stuff, like, first thing in the, like, oh my gosh, first thing in the morning. And then we go to Mass. And then we'll be we know that, like, after Mass, we go over to my in-laws, which is a massive group of people. So, and then my family, like, then we get together again with, like, my mom and stepdad, like, in the evening. But they're like, out of town every other year. So It's like, but we kind of have, like, the same thing that we do kind of every year.
That's nice that it's the same for you every year. I feel like for us, it's different. Like, every year, we are not sure exactly what we're going to be doing, which is kind of...
That would really bother me.
We're last minute people. We're very much last minute people, and so, like, when it comes to, like, what Mass we're gonna attend,
you're like that day. It's
like the day before Christmas Eve, and we're like, wait a minute, we have to go to Mass. Like, not have to.
Like the day before Christmas Eve, not Christmas Eve. I don't even know.
I'm sorry. But then we're like scrambling. We're like, I don't know, what should we do? We're trying to figure, like, we're looking up on our phones to figure out at like 11 o'clock at night, like, what Mass are we gonna go to, and like all this stuff. And so,
but that's because you've been watching Die Hard.
My husband thinks that's a Christmas movie too.
Every guy I know wants to watch Die Hard on Christmas. Like, my dad does too. And I'm like, what is that?
Well, we know that the thing that's consistent is we know we're going to go to Mass Christmas Eve. We know that we're going to wake up on Christmas morning with our kids, and then we know that we're either going to go to my parents or to his parents. There was one year that they came to us, but that was the year my daughter was born, because she was supposed to be a Christmas baby and was born a couple days earlier, and I wasn't going anywhere that year. But they came to us anyways, and so, but then the other side of the family always has to have their Christmas, and that's where we're like, we don't know if that's going to be like a couple days after Christmas or in January sometime. Like, it's always kind of iffy on when that's going to happen. And so we never know.
Yeah, I think a good Christmas tradition for me is that whatever Mass we go to, we usually go to the one that my in-laws are going to, because my husband's side of the family is basically all Catholic. But then the other tradition is trying to invite my non-Catholic family members to Christmas Mass, and them going, oh, I have to wash my hair, like, I can't go, like, all this. Or just flat out, no, Alicia, I'm not going. I get turned down, so it's okay. It's okay.
So your nativity set, you've sung to Jesus, and starting on Christmas Day, are the wise men already at your at the nativity scene, or do they travel?
I want to do that, but we don't do that yet.
Mine travel like 2 or 3 times.
Many months.
And my kids remind me every single time they wake up. Then they're like, "Mommy, you didn't move the wise men." And sometimes I remember
that to them. They're like, "Why don't you?"
That's what
this is your job. You're a man now. Move the wise men.
Yeah. I don't remember if I ended up having them move it last year, or if we did like I'll go hide it while you go in the other room for like 30 seconds. I can't remember.
Mine start in the entryway and work their way to the nativity set, which is usually over in his way somewhere. So they go from the east to the west.
Yeah, we get your symbolism there. So nice.
So they end up in the kitchen and all over the place.
I remember when I was coming back to the faith, and it was my daughter. My daughter was a baby, and I was reading about all this stuff that Catholics do, feeling like I was going to throw up because I was like,
This is how I feel.
have no idea how I'm going to do all of this. Am I supposed to do all of this? How did I not know about this? Why has no one told me about this? Why didn't we do this? I mean, we did some of it.
Didn't do this while I was growing up, and I'm a cradle
I was going to say,
Catholic.
let me clarify here that most of this, sometimes it happens every year, sometimes it doesn't. Right. Sometimes all of it gets done, sometimes it doesn't. There is no requirement for doing all the things like this.
Right.
Catholics are required to keep Christmas and keep Advent, and underneath that those 2 commands or admonishments, whatever you want to call them, it's a very wide berth of what you want to do.
Which is
there are no requirements.
No, we're just talking about what
Just in case someone was starting to have like armpit sweat. You don't need to worry about this.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel that way.
We're just saying that these are some ideas of things we've done over the 10 plus years that we've been reproducing families.
Do you any? And this isn't liturgically sound. It's a legend. And it's Italian. But does anybody do La Befana?
So what?
So La Befana is a witch that the wise men had invited to go with them to see the Christ child, and she said she was too busy cleaning her house.
So La Befana is me.
And so, but she realized she said, "I'll catch up with you," but she gets lost on her way, and she never gets to give her gift to the Christ child. So she travels the world giving all children gifts.
That's so cute
because she doesn't know which one's the Christ child, and Christ lives in all of them. And so,
that's really sweet.
Yeah. And so she's this like little, and she's not necessarily a witch, but she's like an old lady with a broom. So that's kind of that perception of a witch. But they invite her to go with them, and she's like, "I gotta clean my house. I'll catch up with you." And she gets lost. And traditionally they get like a type of pastry, and so I give my kids I get them the Hostess donuts, and they on La Befana, which is the day after. Like I think it's the day after Epiphany because she comes late because she's.
I'm totally going to bring that lady into my home. I think that is fun.
Now, do you do Bell Snickle?
I don't know what this one is.
Okay. Little caveat: if anyone listening is an Office fan,
Well, or
Sniggle.
it's not just from the Office.
But before we do Bell Snickle, if you also like Tommy De Paloa books, he has one about old Befana.
That's right. That's where I've heard of it. It sounded familiar, but I didn't remember the whole story.
And this year, don't tell my kids they're getting the book. with their donuts.
So are mine, because this is amazing. I'm going to totally bring this in. I think it'd be cool to get cookies with their names on them.
Oh, that'd be
or something. Like, you know, like, I don't know. That's so fun. I love this.
I probably won't do that because it's just another thing. I'm like, I'm writing it down, but I'm like, I'm going to forget that.
Maybe we'll read the book.
And I think sometimes the reason I do so much, and I don't always get everything done. But the thing that I try to do so much is because, oh, that's so fun. Oh, that's so fun. I didn't do that when I was a kid. Now I want my kids to do that because I didn't do, but you do what you can do.
Yeah. Some years I haven't done any, literally some years I don't even think we put our tree up at all.
This year, if I'm going to be totally honest, I've told my children until my house is clean, our house is clean. We're not putting anything up. And it hasn't worked out very well for me yet, but I can't deal with all the beautiful stuff and it's the mess. It's a little overwhelming. So we'll see how late things go, but it's been a little...
Oh, so this not having the tree up is not just life happening. You are being intentional that this tree is not going up until you clean your room.
Yeah, but because of that too, I haven't been able to get our Advent, because we get all the Christmas stuff. Yeah. Our Advent stuff's with our Christmas stuff, and so the Advent
is a separate box.
Well, I did a separate box last year, but I haven't been able to find it. It got mixed in with the other boxes when it got packed up. And so, so it's a separate box, so I haven't been able to go through all the boxes because I am somebody who has a lot of Christmas things, and it's in one.
We have to buy a new Advent candle holder every year because we always lose it. The little cheap ones that you decorate with the wreath and everything.
Many years from now, when after you and your husband die and your children are going through your belongings, they're going to be like, why are there 20 candle holders?
True story, man. True story. Get it before Advent because they are gone.
See, my candles are here on the table.
I did buy candles early this year.
And I bought them early. They're just not in a wreath yet.
For those listening, it is the first week of Advent. We're not at Christmas recording this.
No. So
my son is very judgy with me though. He was like, it's day 3 and stuff still isn't where it usually is, Mom.
We haven't.
And I'm like, you know what?
We do the rolling of the candles. That's a tradition we've done for several years, and they're in the box still. So yeah. But supposedly, while we're recording, my husband is getting them out of the attic, the holder out of the attic, so we have to make our candles tomorrow.
Why are you away?
Okay, so what is this thing you're talking about?
Belsnickel.
Oh, Belsnickel.
I've never heard of this.
Well, I heard of it. A lot of us heard about it from The Office. It's Dwight dresses up Belsnickel.
He's the version of Santa.
Well, and it's a German.
It sounds like the Krampus guy.
Yeah, he's what's his name? Well, no, it's a... Okay, so this thing, it says Belsnickel is a man wearing furs and sometimes a mask with a long tongue. He's typically very ragged and disheveled. He wears torn, tattered, and dirty clothes, and he carries a switch in his hand with which to beat naughty children, but also pockets full of cakes, candies, and nuts for good children.
Wow.
The Germans, man.
or maybe the...
terrifying. Well, see, I don't know about all these fun stuff that you guys do, and I've been Catholic now for going on 10 years, and I just now, I think last year, I learned about putting up the tree, during the actual, liturgical Christmas season, and I barely did anything with that or whatever, doing anything in there, and now I'm writing down all these things you guys are talking about, and I'm I feel the armpit sweat you're talking about. I'm overwhelmed, but I want to do it.
But you don't have to. That's the joy about it, is you don't have to do all of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or any of it.
Pick one thing.
Yeah, but so going on a more, serious note. So sorry, guys. But I'm sorry. I know it's been all lighthearted, and now I'm going to ruin it. No, but I would say for me, one thing that I've been wanting to do that I need to talk to my husband about, is I don't want to say Merry Christmas after opening presents. And this might be just me being a convert from agnosticism, overanalyzing things, because I really tend to overanalyze things. But growing up, that's what we did. Everybody came together with my family. We'd always get together with extended family, and it was beautiful. And everybody say hi, Merry Christmas to each other, and it was great. And we get done, we'd open presents, and after we were done opening presents and doing the Secret Santa stuff and doing ornament exchange, everybody go Merry Christmas, and that was like the end of it. And then like as I grew up, I started thinking, and this wasn't really something that I internalized, but it was more of just like a thought in my head that like it emphasized that material things were the things that were important, you know? Like, and I don't, obviously that wasn't the intention by any means, and there's nothing wrong with us having done that. It was just something, again, I think like I kind of overanalyzed. So I have a very deep concern that I am not going to raise, I'm very scrupulous. Scrupulosity is something I really deal with hard. And so like, I think a part of that is just worrying constantly that I'm going to raise my children to not become saints. Like I'm going to raise them to be of the world. And so then I worry that like, you know, if we, you know, we have Christmas and after we get done, you know, doing that, we say, well, Merry Christmas. That's like the end of it, like in the morning. And then that's what Christmas is about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that over analytical?
As a Catholic, that is not over. Like, that's the beauty of what your fear is that if you celebrate, if you keep the season, it's not over when you say Merry Christmas after the presents. It's just started. So I don't think there's a risk there because you're going to keep celebrating it in that 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and you're going to keep saying Merry Christmas that whole time. We say it to each other the whole time, really through Candlemas, some of us. I mean, so...
Well, I think maybe that's where, okay, like I get, this is just me working it out, I guess, out loud. So I think you have a good point there that for some reason, it's right there in front of me. I didn't even think about it. But like the solution isn't just not say Merry Christmas right after we do Christmas. It's to keep saying and to actually celebrate. Like you don't have, like you guys are talking about, you don't have to do every single thing on the list. But make sure that it's known that like this is the Christmas season. Christmas isn't over. We didn't go to mass, you know, yesterday, and then do presents this morning. Christmas is done, and then we don't mention it for the rest of the Christmas season because that's typically what I do.
Right. And on that same note, like I don't think like I know there's a lot of people who all through Advent will not say Merry Christmas yet, but it said that, you know, penitent Advent, miserable sinner.
Only the really holy Catholics.
I tend to be on the side of saying, I usually say, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. But also, you know, I do Merry Christmas as well. But again, it's like you said, it's that keeping it with the same, like keep it throughout that and helping our kids realize that it's that we continue to celebrate Christ coming through the Christmas season and beyond. Like it's, you know, we might stop saying Merry Christmas at, you know, Epiphany or Candlemas, or, you know, people will keep looking at us weird when we do that. But keeping Christ alive in our homes throughout the entire year. And I think you're doing that.
Well, and if you're worried about like living the Christmas season during the Christmas season, I think Annie gave us some good examples of holding off some of those traditional things of gingerbread houses, Christmas cookies. You know, it was
save all that.
Yeah, we buy our clearance ornaments. Right, like everybody always gets an ornament for Christmas, but we don't get them until after Christmas. Not just because they're on sale, but it's, you know, that's just kind of another tradition we do is like we wait until after, you know, after Advent to do that. It's kind of just another thing that we do to kind of bring that, make sure, you know, that we celebrate through the Christmas season.
One of the things I've noticed, and I was actually really surprised and glad about, is some of the places that do like their lights typically are doing them through January 3rd or 5th this year, which usually they're like done like 2 days or so after Christmas, but they're actually going out through all the way through January. So like even going out and looking at Christmas lights during that that before Epiphany and between Christmas Day and Epiphany, you know, saving some of those things that people, you know, traditional tend to secularly do before Christmas night, or do it before Christmas and after Christmas Day.
Well, see, that's what I'm thinking is maybe that for us, we'll just, you know, we'll still put up the lights and all that stuff and have like the fun, like, you know, the Santa and all the lights and all that kind of stuff like throughout, but then really like I like the ideas for the feast days that you guys have, and like doing that kind of thing or whatever, and just making sure, like even Christmas Day or whatever, like at the prayer at the end of the day, just thank you Jesus for being born and doing all the things, and like thank you for the gifts, but we. You are the reason for this season. Like making sure to like hone in on that. Like I don't need to be so scrupulous.
Yeah, you can just like bake a cake for him.
Yeah. We've done the baking a cake like for Christmas, and then something else that I just remembered. With our Advent candles, we have a little song that we sing as we light each candle. Like the first one for lighted candle for hope, and then as we go through it, and then when we light the white candle, we sing Happy Birthday, and we continue lighting all the candles through Epiphany, and we always sing Happy Birthday when we light the other one, and then they get to blow them out, and they get really excited because they love blowing out candles, because apparently that is like the best thing in the world to do. Why?
And then sticking your fingers in the hot wax.
We have to do a rotation of who gets to open up because I do an Advent book calendar, and I do not get new books every year. I might get 1 or 2 new books, but I pretty much rewrap books we already have that go with like our stories for the Jesse tree. Like, if we're talking about David, I have a David and Goliath board book.
Yeah.
But do you see any of that right now?
I want to do Jesse tree, but it just feels so huge to me.
I love the Catholic Sprouts stickers that they have this year.
I have one kid who puts the Jesse tree ornament on, and I have one kid who opens the book, and one kid gets to blow the candles out. Now, I have a 4th kid who's getting where he wants to do stuff, so I'm not really sure how that's going to look this year. But we'll try to do a rotation so that everybody gets to turn doing something.
With our Jesse tree stuff, it's like we have a rotation throughout the week, or one at a time. Like today, you put the sticker on, and you have to read. If you put the sticker on, then you have to read.
And I know we're kind of I think we're getting close to wrapping up. But besides going to Mass, does anybody do anything for the Feast of the Holy Family? Because I really don't, and I think I would like to, but
I think a lot of people that I've talked to, the thing that seems to be the most popular is cookie exchanges on that day for some reason. I think everybody's
because
like rested.
Cookies bring families together.
They do. Or like, that's one thing. Or going to Mass as a family on that day. Or something like that. And then there's St. Stephen's feast day. Right after, on the heels of Christmas.
I just sing the song that day.
Getting rocks thrown at him.
So
for loving that baby.
Day, we throw rocks at people. Just no.
Yeah. The only day of the year my kids are allowed to throw rocks at each other.
St. Stephen, I just say,
Holy
Good Innocents is also now on the Feast of Stephen and the snowy roundabout. I have to sing it every year.
Go on.
Oh, and we also sing the 12 days of Christmas, so on the first day of Christmas, we sing on the first day. And then on the second day, we do the second day and the first. And we go all the way through. That's nice. So, because one of the things that we had talked about before we started recording was talking about our favorite carols and things like that, or how so that's one way that, with my kids, for Advent, typically my kids, we also have a rotation for bedtime stories and lullabies, but they don't get to choose during Advent for the book. It's the book from our book Advent calendar, and for the song, it's O Come, Emmanuel, and we add a verse every week.
That's what we do for lighting the Advent wreath. We sing O Come, Emmanuel,
and then when Christmas comes, we sing the 12 days of Christmas. And then from the 12th day to February 2nd, we go back to our rotation, but if they choose a Christmas song, they're allowed to have a Christmas song through Candlemas as their choice for a lullaby. Oh, and I know this release is right before Christmas, and so this feast day is already past, but we've talked a little bit about St. Nicholas and St. Lucy, so a big feast day at our house because my daughter isn't really named after a saint, but she's born in December, so we really do Our Lady of Guadalupe here at our house. We do the story.
Juan Diego.
And we talk about Juan Diego. And if I haven't taken them yet, but before I had kids, I'd also participate in some of the processions that happen. If you've never been to an Our Lady of Guadalupe procession, I encourage you sometime in your life to attend at least one. They're beautiful. And the music. Also, talking about Hispanic cultures, La Pasadas is also really beautiful, going from house to house and, having characters as Mary and Joseph asking for shelter, and then finally one house inviting everybody in for a fiesta is beautiful. We can't do everything, but we hope we've given you a couple of things to think about, or maybe you go, oh, that sounds like fun to try, and or wow, that's really weird. I
know we'd love to hear what some of your traditions are too, so please leave a comment.
And just a couple more days, it will be Christmas, and so we hope you have a wonderful rest of your Advent, that it's been fruitful and reflective, and that we wish you all a Merry Christmas in a couple of days.
Merry Christmas!
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Y'all are crazy.
And as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Join us again in 2 weeks.
Until then, may God bless you and may Mary accompany you.
Come, they told me.
Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum.
A newborn king to see.
Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum.
Guitar solo, because the Joe Cocker version is the best. My finest gifts to bring.
Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Too late. It's like you don't act like
You don't know that's the best version. Everybody agrees.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry
La 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 la.